Welcome back to the shop, everyone. Today, we're taking you behind the scenes for an in-depth look at a complete overhaul of an Amarillo right-angle gear drive. The repair process starts the second a unit hits our floor. Here in the intake phase, we log every visible detail, take reference photos, and pull the original manufacturer's specifications. Before we take a single bolt out, we do something incredibly important: match marking. Using a hammer and steel punch, we stamp alignment marks across every flange and housing section. This guarantees that when we reach the reassembly phase, the housing is mated to the exact same orientation it was machined in. With the unit cataloged, we begin the teardown. We carefully remove and store the Amarillo OEM nameplate. We'll be putting that back on at the very end. Next, we back out all the external bolts, access covers, and side plugs to get our first real look at the internals. Often, hubs and couplings are seized tight onto the input shafts after years of harsh, continuous duty. We apply targeted heat using an oxyacetylene torch. This expands the metal of the hub just enough to break the bond, allowing us to safely pull it off without damaging the shaft. Once the externals are clear, we split the housing. We bring in the overhead crane to safely hoist away the heavy cast iron sections. We work our way top down, removing the seal caps, applying the heat to stubborn lock nuts, and carefully rigging the main vertical and horizontal shaft assemblies to lift them true to casing. Throughout the teardown, our techs are constantly updating our digital log. Every component is inspected for wear, pitting, and stress fractures. Over at the bench vise, we strip the shafts entirely, removing all lock nuts and gears. We punch out the old bearing races and pull the spent bearings. You can see the residual smoke from the heat applied to expand them off the shaft. Once the unit is completely broken down, all the components are loaded into a heavy-duty industrial parts washer. We blast away years of contaminated oil, sludge, and debris, so we have a completely clean slate for our final micrometer inspections. After parts are cleaned, restored, or replaced with OEM or our in-house manufactured parts, the reassembly phase begins. First, we prep all the mating surfaces using a pneumatic conditioning disc to remove any old gasket material or burrs. We unbox brand new top-tier bearings from Timken, NTN, and SKF and verify their dimensions against the housing seats using digital calipers. Everything must be within exact OEM tolerances. We apply an assembly grease to the bearing seats to prevent galling during installation and ensure smooth initial startup. We carefully press the new bearings and the massive spiral bevel gear back onto the vertical shaft. The upper housing is lowered over the assembly and we lock everything in place, applying a heavy-duty aviation sealant to the retaining rings. Now it's time to build the drive back up. We lay down a continuous bead of high-grade aviation sealant on the flanges. As we lower the upper housing onto the lower section, watch closely. With the lower shaft secured, the technician perfectly aligns those stamp marks we made during intake. See, I told you it was important. With the lower shaft secured, we reinstall the internal lubrication pump and route the copper oil lines, ensuring every connection is tight and clear. We have to be incredibly meticulous. These internal copper lines are the lifeblood of the gear drive. Precision bent to deliver oil directly to the highest friction points and upper bearings. Once the lubrication system is fully plumbed and secured, we apply an anti-seize lubricating paste to the splines and use a crane to carefully guide the upper gear and shaft assembly into the main housing. Then thread on the top vertical shaft locking collar, tightening it down with a specialized spanner wrench. This is one of the most critical steps in the right angle gear drive repair. Setting the backlash and end play. We mount a magnetic dial indicator to the housing and measure the exact movement of the shaft. Right angle spiral bevel gears require absolute precision. If they're too tight, they'll burn up. If they're too loose, they'll chatter and shear the teeth. We dial this in to the exact thousandth of an inch. Once our tolerances are perfect, we hoist the unit up to install the final side plates. To ensure even pressure across the massive housing, we use a hydraulic torque wrench to tighten the heavy flange bolts to their exact foot-pound specifications. Finally, we take that original Amarillo nameplate and rivet it right back where it belongs. Next, we mask off all machine surfaces, input shafts and output shafts, and give the unit a high-quality industrial coating to protect it from the harsh environments these cooling towers operate in. And that about wraps it up. Thanks for joining us for another in-depth repair guide. If you would like to see us test this Amarillo right-angle gear drive on our custom-built test bench, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.